Well, folks, it is, of course, the Kev and Pickle show. This week, we are delighted to welcome on Baz Black for an interview. Baz, thanks so much for coming on, mate. How are you?
No problem at all. Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks a million for having me. Pleasure.
Delighted, man. Delighted. Kev, you are straight away get into this, right? You like your tattoo, right? You like a lot.
I don't think I like them as much as Baz does, but yeah, that's like, with the tattooing. You had your own shop here in Dundalk with the tattoo, with the piercing, and so on. But like you have a number of tattoos. Do you think there's still a stigma or a stereotype around tattoos, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is. It is getting better. It's becoming more mainstream. Obviously, I'm heavily tattooed, so my circumstance is a little bit different. The older generation will still have the stigma against it, and that's the way they were brought up, and we have to understand that that's the era that they came from. You know, it was criminals and sailors, and so they still have that stigma against tattoos. And the younger generation, you would think, would be moving on, but you know, sometimes you are who your parents are, and they pass on the stigmatization, and you get the younger people that have it as well. You know, so yeah, I mean, because they're becoming more mainstream and pop stars and footballers and stuff like that, it is progressing a little bit. I'm kind of from the rebellious side of the tattoo era, the industry growing up, and that's the reason I did it. So it becoming mainstream kind of defeats the purpose of it, you know, the rebellion of it. But yeah, it is. I think it is moving in a positive step, slowly but surely. You know.
Well,
and
Kev,
you still remember your first tattoo?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was a dragon on my arm, and it was the crest from the martial arts that I've done all my life, jiu-jitsu. So that was my first one.
Happy days. Hey, well, Kev, you abused me, or did on the show, a lot about not having any tattoos, and not you become who your parents are, right? But my dad was very much like, if you get one, I'm going to kill you type of thing, like, right? Now, he's been dead for like 12 years, but I still haven't got one, right? So now, Kev, you've been telling me, like, I have to do this. Now, the podcast especially, it's like, you have to do it. Baz, you have it everywhere, right? I'm going to ask you, right? How sore is it really?
Like, it really, and just from having tattoo shops, it depends on pain threshold. Everybody is so different, you know? And it depends. It depends where you get them as well. I mean, like, anywhere there's bones, like the ribs or the ankle, or anywhere you're tattooing on bone, they're definitely the worst. The meatier places are a lot easier to get done, and it depends on the tattoo artist who's doing it as well. You know, and being tattooed by a woman compared to a guy, a woman's going to be a lot gentler than a guy sometimes. And
good to know.
Yeah, there's lots of different factors to it. But like me personally, I found the head was excruciating, the ribs, the armpit, and the backs of the knees, they were fucking disgusting. So never get those areas tattooed.
No, mine was always here, forearm. I always wanted just one on the forearm. That's all.
I'd say it'd be okay now.
Well, I have plenty of meat on me. Like, I have plenty of, you know what I mean? Like, there's not many bones.
I don't understand, Baz. I don't understand the lads or the girls. Well, the lads, I mean, you know, it's not sore at all. It's not sore at all. Like, I don't understand that when. I think that's lads just trying to be the big lad.
Yeah,
like,
you get that. Yeah,
you're still getting a needle inside onto your body, like whatever, many per second. Like, you know what I mean? It does hurt, like.
Definitely, yeah. And it's always the biggest guys that are the biggest bitches, believe me, you know. Anyone who's like, it's not sore. I mean, of course it hurts, but it just depends on how well you can deal with it, you know. But to be honest with you, you're almost cooler not to have a tattoo these days, so you know.
I'll go with that line. So
when someone's been talking about it for the last 12 years, Baz, I'm going to get one, and then it's still been on all that time.
Yeah,
I don't know what to get.
Almost cooler.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know what to. I'd be like fucking Rachel and Phoebe are the friends.
A butterfly. I think you should get a butterfly.
I just wouldn't know what to get. Hey, but no, you said about stigma, right? And we were talking. You were saying about stigma about older generations and that, right? Now, we might be a podcast that only started a year ago, but I know certain things that you've been on, and I refreshed on it today, right? You sat across on the Nolan show, right? Once upon a time, from who can only be described as the most infuriating woman or human being in the world, right? Katie Oh God, Hopkins, right?
Yeah, Kate Hopkins. Yeah,
Kate, right. How did you like? And I don't want to go into it, but how did you just not leap across the table at her? Like,
Yeah, I mean, those kind of situations, I always just have to remind myself that I'm unofficially representing the industry and people who want to be different and, you know, portray themselves and what they want on these shows. And honestly, I've said no to more shows than I've said yes, because they want to dramatize it and they want to feed in to the idea that you're a tug and that you can't verbalize a conversation, and they want you to get angry and start cursing and shouting. So as much as what she was saying was pissing me off, you just try and remind yourself where you are, you know. But the funny thing about Katie Hopkins is, like, it was all bullshit. And before we went out, she was like admiring my tattoos. She was lifting up my fucking top. She said, "I love tattoos." And before we went out, she said, "Don't mind me. I get paid to be a bitch," right? And then we went out, did the whole thing. And then afterwards, big hugs. She was like, "Oh, you bastard, you called me out my earrings. That was brilliant. Come on, we'll go get a drink." Like, so she was completely like, it's all falsified. And she literally goes home and thinks up stuff that's going to annoy people. And so, you just have to try and remind yourself. If it was on the street or anything, it'd be a different story. But when you're on something public like that, you just have to rein yourself in, you know?
Yeah, no, I get fair enough. Yeah, I probably would have leapt across, but still, no, you're a better man than me.
Yeah, and that video in particular brings the most amount of hate into my life. Like it resurfaced there on Twitter and it went viral, like fucking over 1.5 million views or whatever. And I got 3 death threats. I got people pin dropping my address, my home address, and
Christ,
it's just, you know, the comments. And I don't read comments anymore because there's some hate and stuff like that. But they were literally following me and finding me, like, on YouTube and my email and Instagram and Twitter. Just these people, like, they're just fucking absolutely insane. But that video in particular seems to bring out the worst keyboard warriors of anything I've ever done. Yeah.
Okay, sorry for bringing it up then.
No, it doesn't bother me. It's fine.
But like, Baz, you were talking about older people. Like, there's my mum was in your shop at one stage. She got a piercing done in her. Here we are trying to help with migraines and stuff like. And I think it is just that visual aspect sometimes, Baz, that people just kind of you're taken aback by. I think the facial tattoos more so than most. And then she was like, but like, she said to me, and then he started talking, and it's just like, he's just a normal chap. I'm like, well, what did you expect? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is that kind of that first visual experience I think you probably see of you, Baz, and then it's just like, no, I think that's, some people have that probably perception of it.
Definitely, and I mean, it's something that when I had the shops over the years, it's something that I used to enjoy, was somebody coming in, being very intimidated, seeing how we look and expecting us to be one way, and then leaving with a massive smile on their face, and they can't believe how lovely, you know, we are. So there's that side of it that I love. What is very frustrating throughout my life, though, is that I always feel like I need to prove myself to people to be like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it takes about 20 minutes for me to get past the tattoo conversation and that before it gets to my real personality, because I just answer the questions like so often and the same things and the same perceptions that people have of you, that it's kind of like a defensive thing that you have to prove to them that you're not going to murder them or you're not going to rob them, you know. It's like, and it goes with the territory. It's just, as humans, we judge aesthetically. That's the way we are, you know. And I understand the curiosity of it, but as long as that curiosity doesn't cross over into a disrespect, I'm fine with it, and I'll answer all the questions and stuff like that. But it does get a little bit benign and frustrating, you know, day to day. So
yeah, because like my wife said to me today, I think it was yesterday, she's a friend, one of her best friends, literally is you're the only guy, right, that she would allow to do piercings on her and I think her daughter possibly or something like that. It was like, it's Baz Black or it's nobody at all. So it isn't like, so like, would you have noticed, especially at the start, like where you had the same clientele, because you just said that level of, no, not trust, because obviously it's all, I know you have to trust the person who's doing things but would you have noticed that it was constantly like you would see the same faces over and over again because they were like, right, it's you or I'm just not getting it done at all? Like,
yeah, definitely. And like, I mean, it's the biggest compliment that you can get. It's absolutely amazing. And, you know, you build up the regulars and they trust you. And and their experience. And there's some people on the flip side that don't really give a shit. They don't really care about who's doing it, what the quality is. They just want to get it done. They get it done. But the majority of them would be, yeah, for me, repeat customers. And then what happened with that, as amazing as that is, and this is not an egotistical thing, but what happened then when I had the shops and we were so busy was that I was like away doing all the other stuff that I do, you know, like the acting and the music and all that kind of stuff. But they would walk in and they would expect me to be there all the time, you know. And then there was other piercers that worked for me and I trained them, and you know, but it was always like, oh no, I'll come back when Baz is there. And then I felt like a massive obligation and weight to try. I was trying to keep everyone happy, and I ended up just burning myself out between everything, you know. So it is a nice thing, but sometimes it's just like, because they want you and they don't want anyone else, it's kind of like you feel like you're obligated to be there all the time, you know.
And for your staff, obviously, as well. You're saying you're training your staff. You know what I mean? Like, these are guys that you have put the time and effort into. But yet people kind of go, it's grand. I'll come back on Tuesday. Like, you know what I mean? Or something like that. Sorry, Kev, you were going to say something now.
Yeah, like, Baz, you're known around the town, and I kind of knew you around the town from the tattoos, being the piercer. And then I never realised the acting. Okay, I never realised that was always kind of in there. Like, you went to study in Bow Street Acting Academy. When did the acting start, and when did that become like a really big passion of yours?
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of funny, like people these days say to me like, oh, you're acting now, that's your new thing, it's amazing. I've been fucking 15 years like plugging away at it, you know. And it's only in the last couple of years that it's come to fruition a little bit. But like, to be honest with you, it started way back when I was a kid. Started with theatre, and then
you were in Greece, weren't you? You were Danny in Greece.
I was Danny in Greece, well researched. And then so I did that theatre kind of thing, and then kind of music and martial arts took over, and then later on in life, then I kind of got pulled into the alternative modeling side of things. Now I do mean pulled in, because like, as confident as I may seem on social media and all that, I'm notoriously quiet and shy in my real life. I'm like fucking split personality. So I was really like a rabbit in the headlights with that stuff. But it was because of the tattoos. They kept asking me. And then I kind of got used to it. I kind of put on a persona where I acted like I was confident doing it. And then through that, it was like music videos and getting asked to be in like small kind of commercial stuff. So I got the bug then for acting again, and I've been plugging, like I said, about 15 years now, plugging away. And in the last few years, it's such a long game, and any actor who tells you different is lying, you know. And if you see anybody doing anything, they don't just come from nowhere. They've been at it for a long time, because a lot of rejection in the industry as well.
Well, I suppose like if you come to like, I suppose most recent, right? Like for example, Sunday night, about a month or two ago, you know what I mean? You were on Kin. You know what I mean? Like the new love-hate, you know what I mean? That people for some reason decided to call it, right? Like, obviously for something that had such a big, massive, before it even started, like, you know what I mean? Like the pull that it was getting because people believed it was going to be something like kind of else. Like how did it feel being like a part of that? And you know what I mean? Like around that kind of a cast and that, like.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, and I mean, you know, it was only a small part or whatever, but that all came through Louise Kiley, the casting director, and she's been like holding the torch for me for a long time, and she pushes me because obviously with the look, I do get the gangster and the drug dealer and all that, and that's really fun. I love playing that kind of stuff. But there is a lot more to.
Well, you're not going to get the priest, Baz. You know what I mean? You're not going to be cast as a priest. You know
what? This is just fucking completely ironic. But my next movie, I'm filming in Malta, and I am playing a priest. No bullshit.
Well, I'll be honest. I got a WhatsApp video sent to me today of a priest. Right? I'm not going to say what he was at, but anybody can be a priest. Anybody can be a priest. That's in Malta, though.
In Malta, yeah. I did a film called Pulcinella there during the summer with Danny Patrick, the director, and his next film it's been filmed in Malta, and he was like, I want to cast you as a priest. And I was like, Danny, have you fucking seen me? Like, you know? And he was like, just read the script. You'll understand when you read the script. I've written it specifically for you. And like, basically, I'm playing like an exorcist priest in the 1900s. And any modern tattoos will be, I have like burn marks. There's a whole backstory to it. And it's like a lead role, but it's directors like that can see past the image and put you in these roles. That's what you need, you know. And Louise Kiley with Kin, that was the same thing. Like, she got me Into the Badlands was my first big network show in 2015. And she's always like pushing for my corner, and she pushed me for Kin. I actually did 4 auditions, I think, for 4 different characters. And I mean, like, when you see who was cast in some of those characters, you understand that you kind of never had a chance and whatever. But just to be around them, working with Kieran Hines was amazing. And I was actually in the 5th episode loads back and forth with him, and the way they edited it was like 30 seconds. And that's what happens a lot on these kind of shows. You just never know what's going to happen with them. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. And Dermot Gogan's the director. I've been in good contact with him since, and he's brilliant. He's going to be the next big thing, I think. So,
as you can probably, like, if people aren't watching this, but as I can see behind you, you're kind of a movie buff, Baz, by what looks to be. What looks to be going on in the,
it's all
porn.
Same as mine then.
I just had them on a USB now. So what would be your favorite movie?
Oh fuck. I love escape movies, so any kind of prison escape movies. But I love Papillon, the Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman
the original
film.
Yeah,
the original. Yeah. That'd be one of my all-time. I think I've watched that more than any other film. So yeah, that'd be my favorite one. Well, love it.
I'll tell you what, right? On our podcast, right, we do what's called a would you rather question, right? Now, Baz, honestly, some of these are fucking horrendous, right? Okay, right. I mean, horrendous, right? I'm talking about like parents and porno movies and stuff like that, right? Okay, so I have one for you, which is nothing like that at all, right? This is very simple, okay? Would you rather, okay, act alongside your like absolute favorite actor, actress, you know what I mean? Like, or would you rather tattoo your favorite like actor, actress?
100% act. Yeah.
That's what that's what I was thinking. So
I had an idea. Because I mean, yeah, the acting thing, like, I mean, as much as I love Pearson, I've been Pearson for 18 years now, and I just do it on a guest spot basis now, and I float in. But like, we have a production company, so I write and direct my own films and stuff like that. So we're really pushing hard on that side of things and the acting, and it's just my number one love is that, you know. So yeah, it would be that all day long.
Well, remember, if you ever need 2 lads, Baz, like, you know what I mean, like, we're free like most of the time, you know what I mean, like
you can slot you in somewhere. Yeah,
and just like I'll be at the bar with a Guinness, he'll be at the bar with a Heineken Zero, and you know what I mean, we'll make it work.
Well, our feature film, Dublin Crust, which is based on punk bands that I was in, and we're filming that actually in Dundalk and Drogheda, even though it's kind of set in Dublin, March next year. So we'll 100% get you down. There's a big gig scene at the end. We're filming in the Imperial Hotel, so yeah, we'll get you down there.
Only around the
Lovely
corner.
Stuff. That'd be my first acting role pick. But there you go. But Baz, like, it must be if you've always had this love of acting, to get this far, 13, 15 years later, it must be a great achievement to yourself. I know you act as if like you have this persona from time to time, even with the modeling, but I'm sure in your heart and soul it's just like, yeah, fine, it's finally kicking off for me. Yeah,
it kind of is, but like, it's so bittersweet, and like, you know, social media can make things look way better than they are, and it's like, it's not as if the phone is ringing every day, you know. You're still pushing and struggling, and like, I have an Irish agent, I have a UK agent, and they're always like pushing for you. And then, I mean, the reason for making your own work then is, if you're not getting the parts that you want to get, or you're just not getting any fucking parts, is go make your own work, you know. Yeah. And it's worked out well for us, and the short films have won loads of awards, and that's a stepping stone to making this big feature film now. But yeah, it never feels like, you know, it's never enough. And anybody that's in the industry that's like, yeah, I've made it now, I think they should get out. You know, you need to keep striving and trying to be better than what you were last year. So.
Well, and I asked this last week to a guy we were talking, Niall McNamee. Is that sometimes you get that kind of feeling like you shouldn't be doing it, or like so I'm going to be found out at some stage?
Absolutely, yeah. It's like fucking blagging your way through. And I mean, I think every actor is definitely like that. You know, they have that sense of insecurity. I have a love-hate with acting. I absolutely love it. It fucking terrifies me though. It's the scariest thing. And I've done stand-up comedy, live TV, and acting on a big set in front of 300 people. And if you fuck up, you're wasting everybody's time. I mean, the pressure, and that's the technical learning side of acting. You know, people are like, oh, acting's easy. It's like, yeah, put a camera in front of your face with 300 blank faces looking at you. It's a different story. But yeah, definitely. And then even with the movie making side of things, you know, I never really thought I would go down that road. And I was, you know, very skeptical about writing my own stuff. And even though I wrote a book and I put that out and it did well, the writing the scripts was a whole different story. And it just, once I started doing it, I realized how much I love it. But like you said, yeah, you're afraid you're going to be found out someday to be like, this cunt doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, look, like, I can imagine, because we did a thing for Suicide, and Pico had a camera, and I had to try to do literally one line, Baz, and it took us about, what was it, 20 minutes to get it, one line done.
There was that many outtakes. We put the video up of all the outtakes together, and it was horrendous. He was walking 5 yards.
Yeah. We're trying to walk. The issue that I had was trying to walk and talk at the same time. It was almost impossible to try to do that at the same time.
Well, that Pulcinella film that I was on during the summer, it was an amazing, absolutely amazing experience. But I was playing the older brother to the protagonist, to the main guy in the movie, and he got tonsillitis during the shooting, so he was off for a week. So I spent a week talking to a piece of fucking sellotape.
Oh my God.
To replace him, eyeline wise. And I remember there was one scene and I was talking to the tape as if it was him. And then I had to follow an imaginary car and imagine someone getting out of it and commenting as they were getting out. So I had to tape and an imaginary car. So this is the behind the scenes of a fucking actor. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay. Well, look, I suppose for me, like, obviously I'm learning so much about you in like the 20 odd minutes that we're talking, right? So like, it's not just acting, it's writing, it's directing, it's all that. Okay. So like, I'm not going to say like an Oscar down the road, right? But like, you know what I mean? What do you want? You know what I mean? In a sense, right? Like say like number of years, whatever it is, like 5-10 years, like what do you want? When me and you and Kev are talking again, right? In like the Tree Arena that we're after booking out because we're smashing it and we have you on as a guest. How are we introducing you? Like, what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, like the manifestation is the important part of it. And for me, like, you know, the likes of Kin being on a show like that, for example, say Line of Duty, I'd love to be a regular on, you know, a BBC crime drama TV series where you get to spend months actually developing the character. And, you know, so that's always been a massive goal of mine, is to get on one of those kind of shows. And then on the filmmaking side of things, like with this feature film, I mean, it's like a full-time job, the amount of production that's going into it. And for me to get that film onto Netflix is my big number one goal. Yeah. And like we're shooting it to Netflix standards. Netflix have a list of 14 cameras that you have to shoot on, or you're not allowed on Netflix.
All right. Okay.
So we're making sure that it's done to Netflix standards, because that's going to be the big push to it. So if we can get that movie out there, and just even like it won the Dublin screenwriter script pitch, but the tag that I have on the movie that they seem to love, and it kind of encompasses what we're going for. It's called Dublin Crust, and it's basically like Dublin Crust is like Train Spotting meets The Commitments and has an illegitimate love child with the full Monty. Like that's the kind of goal we're going for. You know,
can't go wrong with that.
Can't go wrong with that. Yeah. So Netflix for that one, and a big BBC crime series would be
cool. So pick up me and you could be on Netflix. You never know.
We could be on Netflix. You never know. We'll make sure people know. You know what I mean? Nobody might know, but we'll make sure that people know about it.
That could be the deal breaker if they find out you.
I'll shave my head. I don't really mind. I'll do that.
Yeah, and this is only for November, so it is. But at least I know I can grow it if I have to do it. Like.
Good. Yeah. Actually, Joe Rooney's in Dublin Crust, and he's grown one for his character. So
see, I'm like, it's like I'm already part of it. So it is like, so it is. But no, look, come here. There won't be. Look, I absolutely no doubt at all. If that's the kind of standard you're trying to set, of course you're going to hit those standards, and you'll absolutely make the fucking film sounds fantastic. So it does. If you're naming 3 films that I love, no offense, I do love the Full Monty. Then look it. Yeah, it is like, you know what I mean. It's gonna be well worth watching. So it is like, hey, but yeah. Well, go on, Baz. Sorry, you were gonna say.
No, I was just gonna say we shot a teaser concept trailer for Dublin Crust there a few weeks ago. It's on my social media. I'll send it on to you. You can check it out anyway.
Yeah,
but like I always say, when you're pitching to these big production companies and investors and stuff like that, a visual is worth 1,000 emails. You know, you can email them all you want all day long, but unless you show them your vision of what you're going for. And so we're pretty happy with the little trailer, but I'll send it on to you after this. Anyway.
Well, look, you might have 35,000 followers. We have about 800. I'm sure that 800 might not have seen it, right? So you never know. It could help. So it could help.
Steven Spielberg could be watching us as well. You never know what's going on. But Baz, thanks very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you, learning a wee bit more about you, and hopefully our listeners will learn a little bit more about you and where you've been and what you've been doing. So thanks very much for coming on and spending some time with us.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. I love these kind of podcasts where it's not too formal. It's just a bit of a chat, you know. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Thanks a million.
No, what a Baz. Thanks so much, mate. We really appreciate it, mate. Best of luck with everything.
All right. Cheers, guys.